If you've ever worked with a package in Go that returns an interface, but you need to determine the exact type of the object being returned from that function, a type switch is an easy way for you to do exactly that without using any kind of reflection. In this video, we're going to write some code that is going to return an object that adheres to an interface. So we'll execute the function, it's going to return us an interface, and then we're going to use a type switch to look at some of the underlying data within the individual structs instead of just the functions that tie to the interface itself. At the end of the video, we're also going to look at how I'm using a type switch in a real-world project that I'm building that's going to convert a Notion page into Markdown to allow developers and writers and content creators to pull Markdown from their Notion workspaces without having to manually export them and then reformat in whatever way they need to. Let's take a look. So as mentioned in the intro, a type switch is a way for you to determine the type of an object inside of Go, specifically when you're working with interfaces. At least that's the use case we're going to look at today. If you've ever worked with interfaces in Go, then you know that an interface predominantly just defines some prerequisite functions that have to belong to a specific struct, and then the language itself will kind of determine if the struct kind of adheres to that interface spec. So what we're going to do here is we're going to modify this simple hello world program I have. We're going to add an interface, we're going to create a couple of structs that adhere to the interface, and then we're going to use a type switch in order to determine what kind of object we're working with and look at some of the fields inside of that object once we determine what type it is, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an interface called iAuto. Some of my C# background coming in, which is why the I is in front of it, but basically this is going to be some kind of automobile. And a simple function we can say in here will just be run. Right? An automobile has to run. So that's the only function we're going to define because it's enough for this demo for me to get the point across. We're going to create another type called car, and this is going to be a struct, and we're going to have a field in here called color, and we'll just leave that like that. And then let's make sure that this struct adheres to the interface. So I'm going to say func c car. We'll give it a run property, and then we're just going to log .println. We'll just save room, right? The car runs, it does have room. Simple stuff, right? Let's also create another type, and we're going to name this truck. And this is also going to be a struct. We're going to give this a color of string, but we're also going to give this a trailer size. And this is just going to be an integer. It could be whatever format you want in real life, but it's just a way for me to give it some kind of extra field that car doesn't have. However, we definitely want this to adhere to the same iAuto interface. So I'm going to say func t truck. It's going to have the run function, and it's going to log.println. Say big vroom, right? Trucks are a lot bigger, so they vroom bigger. Okay, so now let's create some methods that will return an iAuto. Okay, so I will say func get auto, and we're going to set a, auto type here is going to be a string. We're just going to basically, you can pass in car or truck to get something back, and it's going to return a type of iAuto. Okay, so we will say if auto type is going to be equal to car, we will return a new car, and let's make the car's color red. Like that. If auto type is going to be equal to truck, we will return a truck. Actually, no, we're going to just else this because I don't want to have to deal with finding a generic example just to return a basic iAuto, so we're going to return truck, and we're going to set the color to white, and then let's also give it a trailer size of 1200. Again, 1200 is just an arbitrary number that I'm using to give this a different field. It doesn't really matter what it means, but you'll see what I'm talking about here. So now inside of our main function, we're going to execute this get auto twice. We're going to get a car and we're going to get a truck. And then what we're going to do is try and look at the values of the specific properties we've set. And since we only have the run func here, the only thing VS Code's IntelliSense is going to recognize is that any of the returned things from this getAuto function is going to have a run function that we can execute. So I'm going to create a slice here called autos, and it's just going to be a slice of iAuto. And then for the first entry in the slice, we're going to say get car, or I guess get auto. And then we're going to pass in car. And for the second, we will say get auto, and then we'll pass in truck. And now remember, since we're just basically using an if-else statement in here, when we say get car, it's going to return a car. Anything else that we pass in here is going to return a truck. So we'll save that. Now, if I want to loop over this, I can say range, autos, and then inside of here, we should have some IntelliSense. So if I say el dot, the only function that I have available to me is run. However, we know that if it's a car or a truck, we should have color. And if it's a truck specifically, we should have the trailer size. I can do this, and I can just execute run. So if I now say go run main.go, hit enter, we know that the first object in here is a car and the second object is a truck. So we get vroom and big vroom, just like we've kind of specified inside those functions that we've assigned to the structs. However, we don't have access to something like the trailer size, because what we're working with right now, the Go as well as VS Code doesn't know what specific type that we're working with. So this is where our type switches come into play. So if I type in switch, I'm going to say obj for the object that we're passing back, and then we will say el, which is the element in this specific slice, and then we're going to say dot parens type. And what this is going to do is let us create a switch that will check the type and then return the object that we can actually work with. So if we say case car, which is the name of our struct, we now can say, let's see, we could still do obj. Obj is what you want to work with, because since el is still a type of iauto, obj is whatever the type of the object that Go has determined is. Which means I can say object.run, which will still return, vroom, but I go say log.println and say the car is, and then we can pass in obj.color like that. And then we can do the same thing for truck. Case truck, we'll say obj.run, which should give us our big vroom, log.println. We'll say printf actually. The truck is %v, and the trailer size is %v. And then we'll pass in obj.color and obj.trailer size. And this is just to format the string to spit it out the way that we want it to. Now, if I run this, you should kind of figure out what's going on here. Because we have our case statement for the specific object type that we're working with, the struct type, we can use the IntelliSense and we can look at the fields from that specific object as well. So now if I say go run main.go, we can see the car is red and the truck is white, trailer size is 1200. So this is a way that you can determine types when all you basically have to work with is an interface or some kind of object or some kind of function that is returning an interface as opposed to a concrete implementation of a struct. So now your question is, why the hell would you want to do something like this? Normally when you're writing code, you want to be explicit with what you're returning, but there's certain instances where you're going to only be given back an interface, and from that interface you have to determine the type. The reason why I'm using this specifically is actually because I am building a library that will return Markdown from a page in Notion. And I'm building this library called end2md. And what this will do is pull in a page from Notion, scan it, get all the blocks that are inside of a Notion page. Blocks are kind of like the sub-object of a Notion page. Actually, I think they're the core object in Notion. Even pages are considered blocks. But essentially, the way that I would find this is a page ID is going to be passed inside this function that I've created called get markdown string from Notion page. You see the page ID is passed in here. So we're getting some information about the page, but the important bit here where this type switch really came into play is this find block by children ID. If I F12 on this, I can look at the source code for this specific function in the Go Notion package, and we can see it returns a result of block children response. Block children response. And inside of this object, we have these results that the results object, which is where all of the blocks are returned, are a slice of this type block. But the problem is block is an interface, and it really only has these methods that I can use to determine some common information across different block types. Now, if I look down a little bit farther inside of this specific package, we can look at, say, this paragraph block. And we can see paragraph block actually does implement the Marshall JSON, which is the only function required to implement the block interface for a specific struct in this Go Notion package. So in order to determine how to handle each one of these child objects, I'm looping over the results of the response, and then I'm using a type switch in order to determine whether the block I'm getting is a paragraph block or a heading 1 block or a heading 2 block, and it kind of goes on and on. You see divider, image, and then I have different logic inside of each one of these cases to handle parsing the returned object from the Go Notion package and converting it into Markdown that I will eventually be able to spit out from here. So this is a perfect real-world use case where I'm actually using a type switch in something that I'm building.